Welcome to the Born to Be Brave podcast YouTube channel. I am so excited about my guest today. Her name is Brenda Jones. She's like the super mom. And not only is she a super mom, she has, I don't know, your son's what, 4? Yeah, 4 years old. She's married. She has a full W-2 job. She's kick butt, takes no prisoners, real job. And she runs a real estate side hustle that is incredible. And she's about to close escrow on her first RV park. And I want to introduce you to her because I met her when I was brand new in real estate investing. And this is Brenda Jones. Welcome to our show, Born to Be Brave.
Hi, thanks for having me. We met each other. We were both brand new.
Both brand new.
Yeah, so that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much we've accomplished in 2 years.
In 2 years.
It felt long, but also felt very quick.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, you joined and I joined, right? At the same time.
Same time. Yeah, exactly.
And what's interesting is I thought it was like a total pain in the butt to drive all the way to Studio City for the meeting,
Yeah.
but Brenda actually did something about it.
Yeah, we started OCJB, and for the longest time it was in Huntington Beach, and now we're in Irvine, and we grew that group from 11 people to 1,200 on the Facebook group, and in person we get about 50 to 100 people, and we get amazing speakers now. So now we meet once a month, but yeah, I mean, that was like essentially my own accountability group.
Yeah.
And I made so many good friends.
Yes.
You especially. And that's where I found my partners. And I learned so much. And it's just been an amazing experience.
Isn't it amazing? And so what we're talking about is the Creative Finance Group, Sub 2. We both belong to a community called Sub 2 Creative Finance. And the meetings used to be, we're in LA, and so we would have to drive far for us from Orange County. Like it took like 3 hours, I think, one time for me to get up there.
Yeah.
And so it was far. And then you took the initiative and started a group down here. What made you decide to go from being a mom working and having a W-2 job to investing in real estate? Like what made you decide, oh, maybe I should do that? Because what my goal in life is to inspire women, especially women, men too, you can be inspired too, but my target audience is women over 40. I know you're not over 40.
I'm 44.
Oh, you are?
I'm turning 44 March 17th.
Oh my gosh, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah,
baby.
that is. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Well, happy early birthday. So she is my target audience. So we really need to listen.
Yes.
So I think 37% is the statistic approximately, give or take a little bit, of women that invest in real estate currently. I have 2 granddaughters, one's 6 and one's 3. And I want that to change for them, right? Absolutely. I want them to be like, it would just be normal for them to be investors in real estate.
Yes.
And for some reason, women are not big on investing in real estate up until now. Mm-hmm. So how did you think, oh, let me do that? I mean, did you grow up with wealthy parents who have like a big portfolio, or like what happened?
Absolutely not. No, I'm first gen Filipino. My parents are from the Philippines. I'm born here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And no, we were middle class, family. We actually never really owned a house. We jumped from apartment to apartment because, once they upped the rent, we had to move because we couldn't afford it. So, the typical first gen goals was, go to good school, get good grades, buy a house, make good money. And that's what I wanted to do. And in 2022, me and my husband were trying to buy a house here in Orange County. And, it's really expensive. And B, interest rates at the time was 2%. But when it got down to, or started climbing up, right?
Yeah.
4 or 5%, we couldn't afford a decent sized home anymore. It went from like trying to afford a 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom condo and just being house poor with a crazy mortgage payment, right? And so after experiencing that, we decided to just take a break. And so I was Googling like everyone else, So I work at Apple, so I make really great money. With making great money, you pay a lot of taxes, specifically in California. So I was Googling how to save money on taxes. And everything that kept on coming up was real estate investing.
Oh, wow.
And, so there's a bunch of, gurus out there. And I was following them on Instagram, watching their videos. But the one that really stood out was Pace Morby, because he's super genuine. He really kind of like spoke to the normal person, right? And after, really diving deep into his videos for like probably 6 months, I decided to pull the trigger and join his community. And I mean, literally my whole life changed because of him.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. Yeah. He's one hell of a human. I don't know how to describe it.
He's like, he changes your life.
He really does.
Like, it's almost like it's fake. He's so genuine and so helpful.
He, like, if anyone who's watching this, when you talk to Pace, he literally stares into your soul and it's crazy.
And he knows you.
He knows you. That's what I'm saying.
I met him when I first met him was at Clever Summit in Vegas a long time ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago, I think. Right. And what's interesting is I met him the day before. That's a long story, but I'll just quickly tell you. Like literally the day before, I was helping set up.
Yeah.
And him and Jamil came in, and he asked my name, and we were talking. And then the next morning, because I was doing 75 hard at the time,
Oh, yeah.
and I saw him at the crack of dawn in the lobby. Nobody was there, and he said, I couldn't remember his name because I did not know who he was.
Yeah.
And literally, he said, "Good morning, Colleen."
You're like, what the heck?
I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what was that guy's name again? Like,
How does he know me?
yeah.
Well, he says he has a photographic memory, which is like, I wish I had one. I forget everything.
Right? But what's nice is why do you think it's important? Because you joined the community after you watched all these different people.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important to get into community?
It's the support group. So, no one in my personal group invests in real estate. Everyone owns their own primary home, but that's not investing. It's a liability.
Yeah.
And, the only way you can learn is to surround yourself with, they always say, like-minded people. And that's what happened. And the community is the most valuable thing about Sub 2. Like, yeah, I learned a lot and I consider myself pretty intelligent. So I like absorbed all that information pretty quickly. But it was the friendships, it was learning while my other friends were doing it, and then finding my partners. Like I learned that way. Like I think it's called like tactile learning or something, like actually doing it.
Hands-on.
Yes, hands-on versus studying and over obsessing and analyzing. Like I just learned by doing it. So
yes. And then what happens is if you have a question, you have someone to ask.
you have now 15,000 people to ask.
And instantaneously you can, and it's life-changing. So tell me, you met your partners, right? You have awesome partners.
Yes.
And how did that unfold? How can people like evaluate partnerships? Because you have a great partnership, but I know a lot of people have difficulty finding a partner.
Yeah.
What how did that unfold? I know you have great partners.
Yeah. So my partners, we met each other at one of our meetups. And, for people who don't know about Sub 2, it's primarily single family investing. And at that time, I already had jumped and made the decision that I wanted to do multifamily investing because I wanted to scale quickly. Again, I'm in my 40s, I'm not in my 20s. So I want to, get this, wealth building going as quickly as possible. And I had met my business partners there, and I was the only one talking about multifamily at the time. And so, I am the networking queen. So we exchanged Blink cards. We took a picture. I texted my photos. So we'd remember each other. And we stayed in contact. And, we had discussions about what our goals were. But the ultimate kind of like vetting out due diligence that we did was we brought our families together. And
you did?
Yeah, we did. So we had a family dinner and we did not talk about business at all. We just talked about, what we like to do, family stuff, right? Like, because we really wanted to get to know each other on that personal level. Because, a business partnership is kind of like a marriage.
It is.
And, if shit hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you guys going to, manage through that? And so we took a few months to do that. We had brought the family together a couple times. And then I think it was December 2023. We're like, okay, let's do this. And January 2024 is when Leapfrog Funds was born.
Is that the name of your?
Yeah. And, so we're a multifamily fund and, we started off wanting to invest in apartment buildings.
Yeah.
But
what happened there? Because I know that was your focus.
It was our focus. Yeah. So, we underwrote, I think like 300 deals and nothing was penciling out because bank debt is expensive right now, right? The interest rates are high. And
bank debt is expensive.
It's so expensive, right? And we were able to partner up with another group that was focusing on RV parks. And, and Pace has been ranting and raving about RV parks. And our deal, we acquired creatively. It's Sub 2 and seller finance.
Ooh, that's so good.
And that's why, we want to niche down on that and really focus because that's how we're able to give our investors such amazing, what we call unicorn returns. Because we don't have to pay a bank, what is it, 7, 8, 9%? Like,
that's crazy right now. It is crazy.
Yeah.
So when you say unicorn returns, what does that mean? And then I want to come back to underwriting too in a minute. But
Sure.
I
Okay,
know,
never mind.
never
We'll
mind.
cross
Yeah.
that out. Very high returns that are like double, triple that,
Norm.
normal.
So you were going to give people a better return on their investment because you bought it creatively. What does that mean, you bought it creatively? Just for people, most people know, but just a quick synopsis of what does that mean?
Yeah, so buying something creatively means you're not going to a bank and securing a loan. So sub two is taking over the existing loan at the current rate. So for our deal, the sub two loan is at like 2.8%, which the current rate now is, I don't know, 6, 7. Again, I don't pay
7,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah, 7. And then the other part of the deal is seller finance, meaning seller carry. So the seller becomes the bank, and we're paying the seller a monthly mortgage payment or payment at a agreed upon interest rate. So there's no bank involved. That's
Yeah.
what it means to buy creatively. And that's what Pace has done his whole
life,
career. Yeah.
yeah.
And what he's best known for.
Yeah, and then that's why you can get the better returns.
Yes, because we're not paying high interest rates to the bank.
Yeah, we bought a house in Texas like that,
Yeah.
right? We took over a low interest rate, and then on the equity, we worked out a note with the seller.
Right.
And so, and every deal is different, but I do think learning to underwrite or having someone on your team that knows how to underwrite is really important. Why is that important?
Because these numbers are really tricky. I am not the underwriter. I am the
yeah.
investor relations manager, capital raiser. We have a very strong underwriter, someone who can foresee and look around, the corners, really dig down into those numbers. Yeah, I mean, you can't do these deals without someone digging into the numbers, right? Because
It's
numbers
crucial.
don't lie, right? But Pace always says sellers lie.
Yeah. Buyers are liars and
Yeah.
sellers are
Or worse.
worse.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that is, and you have to be able to dig through the fluff
Yes.
and figure out like, are these numbers inflated? Look for
Yeah.
trends and
Well, because everyone always says it's such a good deal. All right, well, show me the numbers.
yeah,
And
what's a good deal?
right, and like the
Mhm.
business hasn't been performing the last 6 months. People haven't been paying rent. Like there's all these things that are happening. You're like, no, these are not. It's not a good deal. So
Yeah, and I do think it's important that we figure out our strengths and then we partner with people who have other strengths.
absolutely.
Because it wouldn't make sense for you to be an underwriter.
Right. And my underwriter does not want to be going on podcasts, doesn't want to be networking 5 days a week, like I love that. I thrive off of that. Like I'm a people person. I've been in sales for 19 years now. So, it just fits me and I get energized versus getting depleted,
Yeah. And so it's important that when you go to these networking events, you can find people to build your team out, right? And then help fill the slots.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And then a big question I think especially women have, or everyone has, is how did you get over, like increase your risk aversion? Because, so many people think that real estate is risky, which there's a risk to it, but I also think it's very risky to work for 30, 40, 50 years for a company and think you're going to be okay. There's a risk to everything, but how did you become more risk averse and be okay with that?
Yeah, so it's the mindset, right? So up until I started learning about real estate investing, I had that typical W-2 mindset, right? Like people think they're secure because they have a job. You're just a number. They can cut you any day, right? But yes, there's a risk to be an entrepreneur and, working for yourself, but you have so much more control. And when I understood the actual tax code, right? Like literally the tax code is built to save you money through businesses and real estate. And then you have to look beyond that. Like the most wealthiest people in the world are business owners who invest in real estate. So I just started connecting all the dots and I was like, why can't that be me? And so people like Pace Morby who create these communities, he makes it accessible to us, right? Like we no longer have to be sheep that just, I do not want to be working a W-2 until I'm 65. I want to be traveling the world with my son and just living my life. But also, like, I'm not going to just not work and sit around. But like, real estate investing is going to give me the freedom to do what I do best. I don't like doing spreadsheets, right? Like, even in my day job, I don't like doing spreadsheets, right?
Right.
But if I get to travel the world, talk to people, go to networking events all day, and get paid, my life is set. And that's what I'm working towards.
And you can travel to see your friends or properties and
Everything.
all of it. Go
I want to
have
go
fun.
international. Like my goal is to have my son go to 10 countries before he's 10 years old.
I love that.
I didn't travel when I was young because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like when you travel, it expands your mind of what's
Yes.
possible. And there's different cultures and people
Yes.
and foods and different
All the
ways of life,
you know?
history.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just really helps shape you
Yes.
and mold your brain.
Gives you perspective, right? Like we're
Yeah.
very spoiled here in America,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't realize how many third world countries are out there, how
Mm-hmm.
many liberties that other countries don't have.
That we do.
Like my parents are from the Philippines, and it's a third world country, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
And why did they come to America, you know, in the 80s, right? To have a better life.
Yeah.
People don't leave their countries if it's good, you
Yeah.
know? And the kids that are born here are so entitled. Sorry, Gen Z. I'm going to talk crap on you guys.
Gosh, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Your entitlement is way too much.
Ooh,
Like
I've never
you
seen it.
don't deserve anything. You need to work hard. I'm sorry. No one is going to give it to you.
You know, I have 3 kids that are in that. I don't know if they're all in that range, but 34 to 26.
Yeah.
My kids all work their butts off, but in general, it's I don't know what happened, where the disconnect is there because it's interesting. I think that what advice would you have to somebody who's watching us and they're thinking, well, that's easy for them to say, you know, that to do, but like, what would be their first step? What do they need to be thinking about, and what do they need to do? I think resiliency is really important, but like, what do they need to do? If you're working a W-2 job, you're a high income earner, you're paying a lot in taxes if you live in California, or you're probably paying a lot everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly.
And the tax codes are benefiting for real estate and for business buying.
Yep.
And you can buy businesses creatively. But what would your advice be to like 25-year-old Brenda?
If I was talking to myself, 25 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working at my first recruiting job,
Mm-hmm.
I would have invested in real estate. I would have bought a primary home
Mm-hmm.
and rented out the rooms, right? They call it house hacking.
Yes.
And then once you build enough equity, right, you
Mhm.
refi, take that money, buy another house. If I started in my 20s, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, right? You
Yeah.
know, and probably eventually like start getting to the bigger assets, multifamily and whatnot. But, you know, I did a great job, you know, investing in my 401k and doing all that stuff. But now in this day and age, like inflation and taxes are going up.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like at 65, even if I have 10, 15, 20 million, what if the tax rate is 50%?
Yeah.
What if inflation is whatever, you know? All that money just goes back to the government
Yeah.
and that's all my hard work and then what, you know? Like I don't want to live a hard life at that age.
Yeah. And I feel like money gives us freedom,
It does.
time freedom, and also freedom for like our health choices, our how much care we get as we get older, travel if we get to spend time with our kids. Like I really like to be with my grandkids,
Yeah.
and so I feel like if you want to help somebody, not just wishing you could help if there was a tragedy in somebody's life that you know,
Yeah.
but actually having the financial resources to help donate to help with that financial tragedy.
Exactly.
And yeah, house hacking. I think that is such a good way to do it, right? To
I
start.
wish I knew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think people don't think about that. Like literally buy a house and rent out the rooms, right? That's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was making great money when I was young. And
Mm-hmm.
again, like affordability was better
Yeah,
20
way back
years
there.
ago, right?
Yeah.
So I totally could have afforded it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, again, it's like I grew up with the immigrant mentality of like make money, but also spend it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I spent 10 grand on Louis Vuitton purses in my 20s, which again, I ended up flipping for money 10 years later. But, you know, some people just still have that sitting in their closet collecting dust, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we don't know what we don't know.
right.
And that's why I'm creating these videos so I have a permanent record. So people can access this that maybe don't have. I've spent a lot of money going to private coaching and self-help and development, thousands, hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that because it's put me in proximity to people that I would not have access to and
Exactly.
ideas and thoughts. And my friend base is completely different now.
Exactly.
And so I think it's so important because your network is your net worth.
Yep.
But I think that these videos are helpful because they help people
Mm-hmm.
like go, oh, Brenda did that. Colleen did that.
Yeah.
I can do that. Right.
Especially at a later age,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I started this 2 years ago when I was 42. And, I was living a very comfortable life. I could
Mm-hmm.
have just been doing this until I was 65. But now I have, like, the sky's the limit for me. And it's so exciting to me. It's very exciting.
Yeah. It's never too late to start,
Never too
right?
late to start.
Yeah. And I feel like there's always like you thought you were going to buy multi units, but it just didn't pencil out, right? But that's okay because you have to start somewhere. And then what happens is God can't steer a parked car. And so you started thinking that that was what it was going to be. You knew you wanted to do multifamily.
Yeah.
And so you started looking for that. But when you did your research and diligence, then you're like, that's not going to work out. And so you pivoted, right?
Yeah.
And we have to pivot. But you do have to take the imperfect action and start.
Always. Yeah. So, like, RV parks, honestly, I'm so happy we got into it because multifamily, all you really can do is upgrade the kitchen, upgrade the floors, and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
An RV park is the actual business, right? So there's real estate on there, there's the pads, there's a store, there's amenities. There's so many ways to increase the NOI. And then the best part is you get to go there and experience it for yourself. If I buy an apartment complex, I can't go experience a room. I mean, I guess technically I could if I kept it empty,
Yeah.
but that's not making money. That doesn't make any sense, right? But like, we're looking at other parks right now that have like cool stuff in it. I can't say because I don't want to
Yeah.
give it away.
Yeah.
But like they're destination parks. That's one thing I also
That's
want to clarify.
awesome, right?
RV, these are experiential luxury RV parks. It is not a mobile home. It is not a trailer park.
Yeah.
These are transient parks where people go to for vacation and leave.
Yeah.
So
So they don't live there
they don't live
day
there.
to day,
No.
month to month, year to year.
No.
Yeah, it's a destination.
Yeah.
And they're all across the country. And
Yes.
with the baby boomers aging, they all have those big RVs or the trailers,
Yeah.
right? That they pull and
Yeah.
they go on vacation.
And those things are really expensive.
Very
The
expensive.
nice ones are like $1 million.
$1 million, yeah. My dad,
So
when my dad retired, he bought one. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no respect for those things on the road until he bought one. And I'm like, that thing was how much? Oh my
and then
gosh.
you go inside and there's 2 full bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms,
Kitchen.
and you're just like, okay, like I could live here,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity. So when you buy one of these, maybe it hasn't been managed well or it needs some upgrading. Is that the plan to go in and upgrade them?
Yeah, so it's, typical like you said, the baby boomers,
Mhm.
they want to sell, they're tired of working, they want to go do other stuff, or they just want to finally retire. The children don't want to take it over, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you want to upgrade. So it's called value add, right? So you want to upgrade,
Mhm.
you want to expand, you want to increase marketing. Those are all kind of like the typical things you would do.
Yeah. It's exciting,
So
right?
I'm so excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one.
Isn't that fun? You're closing soon on yours,
We're
right?
closing March 10th, and then
Mhm.
we're vetting out a few more. I mean, the goal is to like get 10, maybe,
Yeah.
and then like roll up as a portfolio
Yeah.
to
It's gonna,
sell and kind of just keep on doing it over and over again.
and then
I mean,
sell them off.
it's real estate private equity,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's pretty good. Do you have to be an accredited investor to invest with you guys?
yeah, for our fund, we're looking for credit investors. So
Mhm.
for those who are watching that don't know what that means, if you're single, you've been making 200K or more the last 2 years and will
Mhm.
be going forward. If you're married, you've been making 300K or more, or you have a net worth of $1 million, caveat minus your primary home.
Yeah, I can't count that house.
So, everyone in California is like, I'm a millionaire. No, not including your home.
Yeah. Has to be outside of your house.
Outside of your primary home, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, but that does include, like your stock portfolio,
Mhm.
businesses,
401k.
or other investment properties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's pretty exciting, right?
It's so exciting. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I love that. And then what's next for you on your horizon?
I really want to figure out how I want or how I can build on my brand.
Mhm.
I've been doing social media already consistently for about a year and a half, and um, it's just kind of been kind of sporadic. It's mostly been the journey, right?
Mhm.
But like you, like I do want to inspire women as well, right?
Mhm.
Especially first gen immigrants, and I I'm a full-time W-2. I'm a mom. So I do all the things, right? Like I wake up in the morning, get my son ready for school, drop him off, do my day job, making phone calls for real estate at lunchtime, same thing, pick up my kid, make dinner, like doing laundry, like doing everything, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing it and I'm enjoying it, right? I'm not doing it out of like obligation, not doing it because I have to, right? So, it doesn't have to be real estate, right? I
Yeah.
mean, but find something that you're passionate about,
Mhm.
like don't have to. I mean, but some people are just built for it too, right? I think probably the biggest thing is the mindset realization.
Mhm.
And I've got a lot of friends that just couldn't handle what I was doing right now, right? And that's fine. But if I could inspire one of them, I would feel successful, you know?
That's my goal. One
Yeah,
person. If
one person.
one person's life, like, and I hope it's way more than
Of
that,
course,
right?
absolutely. But just one,
Just one.
yeah, that meant everything was worth it,
Like literally, like we had a son that was very sick once and had cancer. And when you have the freedom to be at the hospital all the time with
Yes.
your kid or a loved one, doesn't have to be your kid, right? It could be a spouse, it could be a parent, right? But when you have someone that's facing a terminal disease
Yeah.
and you have the freedom to sit at their bedside and to be there and enjoy those moments with them, I just feel like people don't realize that this isn't our practice life. That this is our one shot
Yeah.
at this precious life. And I especially think that like your first generation immigrant,
Mhm.
right? And then I grew up middle class, right? And then my dad grew up poor, not poor, but electrician was and stayed home grandma, his mom, and pretty middle class, but working class,
Right.
just working class. Um, and I feel like nobody ever told us the things that we need. They did the best they can. I love my
Course.
parents so much, and they did such a great job. But nobody said, "Hey, you should be investing in my." Because my dad was even saying he bought a new car every year when we were kids. And he said,
Yeah.
"I should have put that money in real estate, right?" But nobody told me that was a status symbol in his culture, right?
Yeah.
In our group, friends base or whatever. And so I think that as we teach women and men and just people in general that if you just spent 4 hours a week or 5 hours a week, right, you're using your lunch break and after hours and the weekends
Yep.
to build this, right, that it is possible.
It is very possible. Yes. And the biggest lesson I like to share is
Hmm.
that you don't have to want to be an entrepreneur, right? But then
Hmm.
at least manage your money wisely.
Hmm.
So take that W-2 money, invest it in real estate, and spend the passive income, right?
Hmm.
Because when you spend your W-2 money, it disappears. But
Hmm.
when you take that money, invest it into a house or whatever, right? Even a
Hmm.
business,
Yeah.
and you spend that passive income, that money still continues to make money and you keep on getting dividends and payouts and whatnot, right? So that's
Yeah.
what's called like making a money machine. That's what a money tree is,
Yeah.
right? And
Money
you can,
does grow on
it does
trees.
grow on trees. You've got to
Yeah.
create the tree though, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I wish I would have learned, you know.
Yes. So if someone doesn't want to be an active investor like you and
Yeah.
me, they could be what's called a passive investor, right?
Yeah.
They could take the money that they're saving and the money they're making, and they could invest it. If they qualify, they can be an accredited investor. Or if they don't, there are opportunities to invest when you're not accredited,
Yeah.
if you don't meet that criteria. And you can use that money and park it with people that you've done your due diligence with and that you trust,
Yeah.
because there is risk
Yeah.
in every venture.
Always, always. I mean, there's risk when you put your money in the stock market, right?
In the
I
bank.
mean, I just saw it on Instagram, like the stock market lost $1.3 trillion a few days ago.
Yeah.
So at least, and I actually just made a reel on my Instagram that in the last 5 years, the S&P 100 has only grown 80%.
Hmm.
Our RV park, we're targeting 200 to 300% in 5 years. Like that's kind of like a
There,
no-brainer, right? And it's
yeah.
backed by real estate, right? Like it's a tangible asset
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you own the land
and the buildings,
and the buildings.
right? And again,
Hmm.
it's a business,
And it's a
right?
business.
So,
Yeah, I really think that I hope that when you're watching this, you'll think about the possibilities, that there's other options. And your personality might not fit doing what Brenda and I do, right? Because I thrive on doing these interviews too. I love it.
I love it.
And I was thinking, because I've watched your Instagram and social media completely transform over the last 2 years. Why do you think branding is so important?
Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
So the largest lesson I've learned in raising money for our RV park deal right now
Mm-hmm.
is that everyone that invested with us,
Mm-hmm.
we had relationships with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was to some degree, right?
Yes.
So like I had one person introduce, one of their family members to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I had known this person through my network
Yeah.
and we were friends, right? So strangers are not going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Shocking. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Like
let me give you $1 million.
Right.
Don't even worry about raising the rest
Yeah.
of it. Let me just give it to you.
So if you're looking to be a capital raiser, you need to be building genuine relationships, and like asking for money is never the objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always presenting an opportunity. And if it's not a good fit for them, it's not a good fit. You don't push, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always about timing as well. And if people don't invest with you, it's because they don't trust you,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And I think that that's so important because over time, the know, like, and trust factor is so important. And over time, I feel like on your social media, you're now talking all about these opportunities. You're talking about, I know you're giving back. You're doing the Orange County 100. Is that what it's
Yes.
called?
Yeah, that's this Thursday.
Yeah.
Really excited.
Yeah. What is that about?
So it's a women's charity where
Mm-hmm.
we we try to get 100 women to donate
Mm-hmm.
$100, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the goal is to give a charity $10,000. So we give three charities the opportunity to pitch. And the specific one that's happening on Thursday is for the LA fire relief.
Mm-hmm.
So three charities are going to pitch their charity, and then we get to vote which charity gets the money. And, we get to present it to them. And we do this on a quarterly basis. And it's really nice because it's all women. And again, like we spoke about, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's already hard to make friends. And, it was our opportunity to bring women together, mostly entrepreneurs, to have high quality networking opportunities, but then also give back, you know? So this will be my third one that I've gone to. And then this one, I actually am like helping, plan and whatnot. So I got involved as a member. So I'm really excited and proud about it.
Yeah, it's impact. I love that you're making impact. I'm really big on serving others, and I know you are too. And I feel like my joy comes from serving other people, and that I see you stepping into this awesome leadership role.
Thank you.
And I just love it because I'm older than you by I'm
A
50.
year.
Yeah, yeah, a year times 12 or 13. I'm 57. I'm gonna be 58 this year. I'm so excited. I'm excited. I don't even think it's too late. If you're 55 or 60,
See?
I'm telling you right now, 2 years
You have
ago,
the energy of a 20-year-old.
I do a lot. I do have really good
You
energy.
really have great energy.
Yeah, I'm really grateful, and I have really big goals because I really do want people. I don't know what happens to women, and it's something I'm going to be thinking about more and more and learning more about. But we groom men to be leaders and investors and to be business owners, and we don't groom women to do that. And luckily, I've been a real estate agent for 20 years, and so I've been an entrepreneur. Like, I either pull business out of my butt or I don't eat, right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be crude, but that's the bottom line. You have to create it out of thin air, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
and and it's all been based on relationships and just loving my clients. John and I mean, John's integral to that. We really just love our clients. We create client experiences that create raving fans. And so when one of our clients' friends is thinking of selling, they just are like, "Oh, you have to use them."
Yeah.
But I think it's really good to to go to events. You go to events. Tell me about why you think it's important to spend the time to go to events.
Because that's the only way to develop relationships, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know this day and age, we've got the cell phones, we got the Zoom, you can talk to people on WhatsApp, even Instagram, there's video
Mm-hmm.
on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nothing beats shaking someone's hand in real life, giving them a hug, feeling the vibe, even like the smell of someone, you know what I'm saying? And, for me as a networker, I want to meet everybody and as many people as I can, right? And the biggest thing with networking too is like the follow up, right? So I just went to Bethany LaFlamme's book launch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually having lunch with 2 or 3 ladies I met from that event this week.
Oh yeah, see?
Yeah. So, you know, and it's like, and you never know what happens to these relationships, right? I want to have more friends, right? There's not this goal of to raise money. That's always like an icing on the cake.
Yes.
But, you know,
I think meaningful relationships are so important and to support each other,
yes.
right? And it helps keep our mindset to open to other possibilities. They might even have some possibility or something that might be interesting to you, right?
It's important for me though is to build these relationships with women
Mm-hmm.
because real estate is a male dominated industry, right? And we need more ladies. We really do. And we are fully capable. You know, I know it's hard to be a mom and clean the house and cook and all that stuff, but like this is good for you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, we're better at it. I'm sorry, we are, you know, because we can multitask, because we have that empathy, because we do have that emotion. Like there's the stigma of like women can't be good leaders because of that. We actually are better leaders because of that, right?
I
So,
totally agree with that. And I think that it makes, for me personally, I think it makes me a better mom.
yes.
When I was, because was a mom that, sold real estate, and I was a teacher before that. But for me personally, it gave me a lot of satisfaction, but it also I feel like it made me a better mom for me, because I would have had a hard time just, um, not just being a mom, because just being a mom is a
That's the
lot.
hardest job.
It's the hardest
It is the
job.
hardest job.
Not, so I don't want to say that. So that's not what I mean like that, because just being a mom is like,
Is the hardest job.
it's the most thankless job. It's the hardest job. No one comes home and says, "Hey, congratulations, you cleaned up the same mess 20 times and you didn't kill anybody today.
Right.
Congratulations."
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
here's your $100,000 bonus and a trip to Fiji
Yes.
for all your hard work, right?
Seriously.
It is, and it's the most important job.
Yep.
Because you're shaping the human society, a future of our humanity, right? But I do feel like it's just really important. I mean, this, I didn't expect to say this, but I feel like I can say this. It also gives us women options. So if a woman ever, like if your husband dropped dead, or if he divorced you, or you wanted to divorce him, or he became incapacitated, you're not relying financially on anybody else. Like you have the skill set to have options, I guess, is the real thing.
Yeah.
And I like that options are really important to me for.
I mean, I think you should have something for yourself for your own identity,
Mhm.
something that you can look forward to. I find so much joy and passion doing this, and I can't wait to like get to a point where my son really understands what I'm doing. I take him to my events.
I
I
know.
want him to like, I want him to learn. Like the two things I want him to learn is sales, because I've been in sales for almost 19 years,
Mhm.
and finances, right?
Mhm.
Because sales is like overcoming objections, relationship building, seeing around corners, like that, whatever he wants to do in life, having a sales skill set will only benefit him, you know? And then obviously finances, right? Like you don't need to save yourself or save money to become wealthy. Use that money to make money, right? Like Elena Cardone's like, have your money make babies. You know, we're mothers, make babies, have the money make babies. I love when she says that.
That's so good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I love that. And I love, because I know we had the vision board party here.
I know. We need to do another one.
I know, let's do it. I did my new one right
Yeah,
there.
I need to do one.
Let's do it again. We'll
Yes,
plan it.
it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's very important to have a vision for your life. I watch a video every day of, I haven't been watching it every day. Right now, I've been watching it a couple times a week, but of my ideal life. And then Pace said that you should put it on your phone, your pictures
Oh,
of your ideal life, and have it rotate through.
so mine, that's a good idea. So for me, I have my affirmations pop up as reminders
Oh, that's so
back
good.
to back,
Mm-hmm.
like every 5 minutes from like 6 o'clock to 7 a.m. And there's a few of them that I copied from you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
I can't
good.
remember off the top of my head.
Miracles are my
Yes, that
normal.
one. Yes, that's because that's when you always say. So
That's my everyday. That's my life
yes,
mantra.
yes. So I put that on my phone now. So when I wake up, it reminds me, and I'm like, yes. And then you have to say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
You have to visualize. Like everyone thinks it's so hokey, but it works, you guys. And it's not a one for one that like I want to be rich, you're gonna be rich, right? It manifests in a different way. But like a funny story, like I always realized or I finally realized when I started learning about visualization the proper way.
Uh-huh.
When I was younger, I used to journal about all the bad stuff.
Oh.
And then I would always be like, God, why am I in these crappy relationships? Why does my life suck? Blah, blah, blah. And then now I only write about the good stuff and
Mm-hmm.
only good things happen, right? So it's like if you only focus on those good things have to happen, right? So it's like, stop complaining, you guys. Like life is too short. There's always a silver lining
In
in
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
And not to say I'm this perfect person who doesn't whine. Like, ask my husband. He's gonna be like, she's lying, right?
Well, it's just real life. I have a rule. I have a rule that I think what you focus on expands.
Yes.
And it's so important. But I have a rule, and I know my kids probably didn't love this growing up, but you can have a 5-minute pity party on anything, and then we're going to have a funeral for it and bury it.
Yeah.
And then you need to tell me what you
then move on.
appreciate, and we move on.
Yeah.
And I
love
know
that.
that when my kids were young, it was not very popular. So my kids were like, "What do you mean? What do I appreciate?" I'm like, "I want to know what you appreciate. What brings you real joy in this moment?" And our energy, we're all magnets.
Yes.
And when I first learned this, my life was a disaster, and I hated every aspect of my life. And I read this book, and I went to this seminar, and I was like, "I
Is it
can't."
The Secret?
It was
'Cause that book's really good.
Esther Hicks, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks. What's her name? But yeah, Abraham. Yeah, but it's Esther and Jerry. It's about the law of attraction. It's the same
Yes.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. But I went to her thing, her seminar is here in Long Beach, and I
cool.
read her book, Ask and It Is Given, because she's saying ask and you're going to get it, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not asking for any of this crap. My life sucks in every area. But then when I thought about it, I would complain to anyone who would listen to for as long as they would listen to me. I was crying all the time.
Yeah.
I was focused on everything that was wrong.
Yep.
And it's amazing how, as I started just chipping away and letting go of that, it's amazing. And then my coach asked me, because I got it down to a 5-minute pity party, and she says, well, why do you even want to complain for 5 minutes about something?
30 seconds.
That's what she said. Get it down, right?
Yeah. Move on.
And
we're done.
And I do think that life has stuff that's going to happen in your life, and you get to decide how you react to it, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be crappy deals, crappy partners, people are going to flake out, stuff's going to happen. And we get to choose how we react to that. And you can pull up your bootstraps and get going and pivot, right? And you can sit and complain and wallow and decide life sucks. And whatever you decide is what you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I have a girlfriend that was like complaining about not having time for such and whatnot, right? And she also, has a child and works full time. And it's like, why don't we reframe and say, how can I find time? And just it's these little words you need to change.
Yes.
Doesn't that feel better? Like,
Yes.
how can I find time versus I have no time?
Excuses or reasons.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. It's so important. And in fact, I learned 2 words about 2 years ago that have changed my life from another coach. And they were up until now and yet.
Yet. I've been doing yet.
Yeah, yet's so good. And
Yet
then
is
up
huge.
until now.
Yeah.
Up until now, because why would I want to anchor myself into something that's not good for me, right? Something that's not positive.
Yeah.
And so even I've been eating healthier. And so I have a sign on my fridge that says that, I asked God, I mean, I wasn't planning on sharing this either, but I asked God, why is it easy for me to say no if someone offered me cocaine or cigarettes or vodka, right? Even gluten, right? I'm allergic to gluten. I would never say yes to any of those things, right?
Yeah.
And I asked God, why is it so hard for me to say no to sugar, right? And he said, well, Colleen, you view all those other things you talked about as poison, and you view sugar as a reward and a treat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do.
Right.
And he says, if you started thinking about sugar as a poison, then you wouldn't be susceptible to, I waver. I would never waver. I'd never say, oh yeah, let's go smoke, or let's go, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would just never do that. And if you smoke, that's a personal decision. I'm just saying, for me, it's not good for my body.
Right.
It says it's going to kill you right on the box.
Surgeon General.
Surgeon General, right? It says right on there, going to kill you.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's so funny is when we reframe it. So now I'm reframing that's poisonous, right?
And now it's been easier.
It's so much easier to say no. And I put a sign on my refrigerator that says sugar is poison. It's a weapon of mass destruction for my health. My body is my temple, and I'm worth eating healthy and eating for vitality and health. And so that's a section of my life that I'm reframing right now.
Yeah.
And it is interesting that the words in the story we tell ourselves are like really, really important. Like you can find the time. Everyone has the same 24 hours, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like you're talking about food. Like the more
Mm-hmm.
I learn about our food system, our medical system, our drug system,
Mm-hmm.
like you look at ingredients from America versus Europe,
My
they're
gosh.
literally poisoning us, you guys. Like that's not cool. And then it's like they give you this medication and then you have
Mm-hmm.
another ailment, so they can give you another medication. Like I just have been getting over like this full body eczema issue,
Mm-hmm.
and they immediately wanted to give me prednisone. And I was like, no, I need to find another way. And I started going to acupuncture. I'm doing lymphatic massage. I already eat pretty well. Again, not the best, but I don't
Most of the time.
most of the time.
But you do eat pretty
Yeah,
healthy.
but I don't do fast food.
Yeah.
We eat out, which
Mm-hmm.
again, is not fast food, but you don't know what they're putting,
What kind of oils?
what kind of oils, again, another thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I bought grounding sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to do anything and everything that I can do holistically before I start taking a drug, right? Because again, eventually, like if you need a surgery or you need some,
I agree.
you should,
Yes.
but it shouldn't be a band-aid, right? So like they wanted to put me on high blood pressure medicine, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
trying to avoid it for the last 2 years. They told me to lose weight. I
Uh-huh.
did lose weight. I did it by intermittent fasting,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 years later, they're like, you need to get on this medication. And I'm like, okay, I need to find some natural ingredients on how to bring that back down.
Yeah.
So
And I think that their first line of defense maybe isn't the first line of defense that would be good for us because I feel like they're in the prescription business and they're not doing things that they're not trained in nutrition and health, but
no.
also they put stuff in our food that, yeah, we were in Europe 3 years ago with our son and I had a tomato just from a street, a little street shop in Italy.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that tastes like a tomato.
Food tastes so good there.
Yeah.
And you don't need to put a bunch of salt or pepper, hot sauce.
Yeah.
You can just eat the food where it
Right?
is and just
Hold
like
on.
be
My hand.
savoring.
And it's real.
It's
It's
real
not
food.
genetically modified.
It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I think that's going to change really soon here
I
in
hope
our
so.
country.
I hope
I
so.
hope so. And what's interesting is I went to Sedona. Oh, John's got something going on over there. Anyway, we're real people over here.
Yep.
So I went to Sedona with my publisher and coach, and she had a retreat, and we did these sound baths, and with like these really famous people, anyway, in Sedona, and I released a lot of stress and trauma there.
I want to try that.
And I've up until now, I've had difficulty sleeping over. I would say I've had a lot of high stress trauma situations in my life.
Mhm.
And anyway, sleeping, I've been getting better at sleeping because sleep is really important. I don't know. I just want to share with you these sound baths. I found some online and I've been sleeping with them. I sleep all night
Nice.
and it's very
That's
peaceful.
amazing.
But yes, I do
I
feel
want to
like,
try it.
yeah, I'll send you a
Please
couple.
send me one.
I
Yeah.
will text them to you. But I do think that health is very important. What we eat is important. The story we tell ourselves is important.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you're around people who have similar goals, they may not be exactly the same. I think it's easier. Something that Pace said really impacted me because I was thinking I needed to have this elaborate plan to get back into shape because I used to be really fit. And he says 18 minutes a day. If you do something 18 minutes a day consistently over time, just 18 minutes a day, it will change your life. So now I'm just doing 18 minutes a day. I lift weights
That's
and
good.
do some yoga poses, but it's 18 minutes and I go for a walk. But I'm
Yep.
just saying 18 minutes a day, even just in the last month, I've been doing the weights for 18 minutes a day, this 5 days a week. And it's like, wow. Like I just went up just incrementally. And I just think it doesn't have to be this big thing.
No.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's what the best way with goals, right? Like break it
Mhm.
down into bite-sized pieces
Mhm.
essentially. Because if you were like, I want to make $100 million, well, how the heck am I going to do that, right?
Yeah.
But you got to figure out like, okay, what's the first step, and then what's the next step, and then 2 years pass, and you're like, ooh, a couple million there, right? So it's like the same with like losing weight. It's like I was losing weight 1 pound a week, which is actually really fast.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a goal of how much I wanted to lose. It was just like my goal was to get my blood pressure down.
Yeah. Which is the healthy thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that even I had a coach once tell me, she said, if you lose your keys, what does your brain want to do? if you lose your keys, what does your brain want to
You
do?
want to find your keys.
You want to find your keys.
Yeah.
And she said that the weight loss industry is a money-making
Oh,
industry.
100%.
And so she says, don't say you want to lose weight, that you want to just get healthy and fit. Because if you lose something, your brain is still saying, I need that fat back. I want to get that back. And so even just reframing that. And so I'm working on that too. It's a progress, but I feel like if the first pill, like when are you going to, like if you start at 42 or 44 taking pills, are you going to be 60 or 70 and 90? And
Right?
like I have a great aunt that's 100, and
I know. I saw your stories. So
she's so
sweet.
she's so cute.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's 16 of them that live in her assisted living, that they're over 100.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to ask them if I can interview them.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be
Oh my
fun?
gosh. I'm sure their perspectives like of life and how things have changed and
The stuff they've seen.
with the stuff they've seen. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
she's seen a lot. Like she
bet.
shared even a story yesterday that I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, they went through World War II, the
Exactly.
Depression, yeah, they've been through a lot. And just, life, like we've all been through a lot. Let's give ourselves credit,
Yeah.
right?
Not like the kids with their
The
my battery died on my phone and I can't get on TikTok.
yeah.
Oh dear.
Right? I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you read books? Do you think reading's important? Or?
Oh my gosh. So I used to love to read when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably didn't read for sport or like for pleasure or
Mhm.
whatever, leisure, for the longest time. And I started reading again when I got into our communities because they're pushing books, people are sending you books. And now if you look at my bookshelf, I've got like 20 business books, real estate books, mindset books. The one I'm reading right now is Dan Martell's
Buy Back Your Time.
Yes.
Mhm. I have not read that book, but I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah. I've read so many books in the last couple years, which is crazy. And I didn't read. I think I didn't read books for 10 years.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. But then that's the thing is like attributes of successful people. They read books.
They read books.
They read books, and it's like, and that's the thing is like, they used to read newspapers, but now it's online. So it's like, okay, so yeah, reading has definitely made me more sharp.
Yeah. Is there a book that you would, and you didn't have time to think about this, but is there a book that you would recommend for people?
So the book that I like a lot recently is Never Split the Difference. And it is a book about I think a CIA hostage negotiator.
Oh, wow.
And it's about sales, but again, it's like these are building blocks of skills that you could use in life, right? And I think about it, my first 10 years of recruiting was at a 100% commission agency. That should have been a book
that you
gave me.
Yeah.
And I did really well, but I would have like crushed it if I read that book, So once my son, like, I don't know what age he probably can really understand that, like, I'm going to make him read that book. It's a really good book. And again, it's not only for sales, it's for relationships.
Yeah.
How to like
navigate life.
How to navigate your spouse and not get into this crazy fight, right? Navigate your children, navigate your boss, right?
Yeah, and every person you come in contact with.
Again, life.
Sales
is a interpersonal skill. Like growing up, I never wanted to be in sales because I thought, you think of like car salesmen. Oh, they're just going to upsell me and I'm going to buy this car for 10 grand or, 20 grand, double it, right? But then it's like I ended up getting to sales, but like my type of sales was I was connecting candidates to new jobs and I was changing their life, but I was doing sales.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that.
I feel like people don't, because I'm in commission sales, and I think we're always selling. Like if you don't think you're selling, you're selling. And people are sizing you up, and you are giving off energy of who you are and how you show up in one area is how you show up in every area of your life. And I think that sales is the number one skill every
100%.
person should learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything impacts you from being at, doctors, insurance companies, restaurants.
Yeah, like I called my credit card representative a couple of days ago, and I wanted to get a fee reversed. And I was being super nice and like engaging and like asking them about themselves. Like you don't have to do that. Like most people don't care. And I was able to reverse a fee, right?
Yeah.
But if you call them yelling and screaming and having a bad attitude, like why would they want to help you? You
Yeah.
know?
It is the craziest thing. Even at Disneyland, we both love Disneyland. I
Yes.
forgot to talk
I
about
have
that.
passes. We need to go.
We need to go.
plan it.
We need to go
Yes.
to Disneyland together
Please.
for sure. And you know what's so funny is because I go a lot to Disneyland.
Yeah.
I know you do too.
Yeah, we go at least once a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I try to go more than that.
Yeah.
But what's so funny is, the people that work there are just people. So if you're
Yeah.
nice to them, like all kinds of things. Like I really wanted, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get anyone in trouble there, but we wanted to eat something that we didn't have a reservation for,
Yeah.
and at a restaurant there, and but because we've eaten there before and been nice,
Yeah.
we did get on the list, and we did miraculously get in and get the food that we wanted, right? But I have to think that possibly the reason that we were pulled up off the list is because we were nice,
Not like,
right?
when's it my turn?
Uh,
I've been waiting for 30 minutes. Like, nobody wants to deal with that.
yeah. hmm What's one thing that we didn't share with people that you would love the audience to know?
Oh boy, one thing we didn't share. I don't know. I think we talked about a lot.
We did talk about a lot.
Um,
Do you think
I
they
mean,
should bet on themselves?
you should bet on yourself. You should trust yourself. Um, you know, one of the things I've learned being an entrepreneur the last couple of years is focusing on your strengths, right? When you're growing up, especially in school, they're always trying to focus you on your weaknesses and get better at math and get better in science.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize that you can love what you love and love what you're good at, and then actually make money off of it, I think opens up your life and opens up possibilities. Um, I did a Clifton strengths test a
Oh
couple years
yeah.
back, and my number one strength is activator. And it's so funny because I go to therapy. I've been in therapy for like 11 years now, and I would and I will go to therapy for the rest of my life.
Yes.
It saved me. And we should have another conversation about like life and family and all that stuff because if I didn't have therapy, I would be in a different path right now. But I remember
I'd be divorced and I'd probably run away from all my kids and
There you go.
family.
Exactly.
So I'm being real.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
real life
Yeah.
here.
But I remember talking to my therapist about like, I'm always rushing and trying to do things. I'm so stressed out, blah, blah, blah. And then like, I take this test and they're like, your number one thing is activator. You want to get shit done. You don't want to wait. And I'm like, oh, so this is not a negative thing. I should stop. This is a positive thing. How can I figure out how to like, embrace it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it, framing it as something negative. And now I'm like, let's jump off the cliff. Are we going to land? I don't know. Do I have a parachute? Maybe. Let's figure it out.
Isn't that a great reframe?
It's amazing. It really is.
And I think that public school really teaches us to look for the negative, and they're like, oh, they talk too much. Like all my report cards said, Colleen talks too much.
Same.
Oh, is that a bad
Not
thing?
paying attention.
Yeah. Oh, is that bad?
Yeah.
But it's so right. It's so funny, and like needs to print nicer, needs to have our L's go this direction. It's like who cares about this stuff? Like, oh my gosh, right? Really? And so the Clifton Strengths Test, if you don't know about it, is definitely something I've done. The Clifton, I've done the DISC. There's all different tests out there that you can take that will you pay a small fee and then you learn about yourself, right? They ask you all these questions.
Yeah.
And then it gives you feedback on what your strengths are. And the nice thing is that there's only one you. Like you're unique, and God made only one you, and let's celebrate that and then fine tune the good things, right? And of course there's things of course we need to work on and fine tune, but focus on the good things in you, and that's what makes you unique, and celebrate those things, and then have some zeal and go for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, even in my day job, right? Like I have these expectations to do, 10 things. And some of the things I'm really great at and some I'm not, right? And it's like they assess you on those things that you need to improve on. And it's like, why doesn't someone else who's really great at it, who loves it and finds joy
In that.
focus on that?
Yeah.
And let me do what I shine in, right? So,
Yeah, and when it's your side hustle and your own business and your entrepreneurial business, you get to do that.
Yeah.
You get to choose.
That's what drives me is that I
Mhm.
get to do what makes me happy. What like it doesn't feel like a job for me, right? Like
Mhm.
everyone's like, oh my God, this is the third day of a conference. I'm so tired. I'm like, who else can I meet? Like anyone else? Anyone talk? Like, So the only time I get tired is because I'm physically tired,
Yeah.
but I don't have, they say it's like a social tank, whatever. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't ever get depleted. Like if I just was 20 years younger and had energy, I could do it all night long. I just
Mhm.
physically can't because I'm turning 44 and I'm a mom and
Yeah.
they suck
They
the life out of you. I love my son, but they literally suck the life out of you. So
they wear you out.
yes.
I
Yes.
know. I
Yes.
take care of grandkids, and
Yes.
it's like my daughter was like, the last time I was in Texas, because we have a house down the street from her, she's like, "How come you didn't get any of the projects done at your house?" Because I'm like, "Well, I was at your house with your kids, and
Which
I'm
side?
freaking way older than you." And I literally collapsed in bed every night, and then I had to wake up the next morning because I was so tired. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much for coming on here and sharing from your heart. And I know you were born to be brave, and
Thank you.
I'm so appreciative of you. I'm going to ask you one question, and where can people find you? And then I end with one question.
Okay.
So where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, so my main platform is Instagram, Facebook. So Brenda Rose Invests. I am also on YouTube, Brenda Rose Invests, TikTok, Brenda Rose Invests, and then LinkedIn is my largest network because I'm a recruiter. I actually just hit 18,000 connections on there.
Holy
Yeah, which is
cow.
crazy. That's under Brenda Rose Jones, but
That's fantastic.
yeah. And then our company is Leapfrog Funds.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in doubling, tripling your money within 5 years, backed by real estate, hit me up. My email is brenda@leapfrogfunds.com. And I'm in Orange County. So we've got a monthly meetup. The next one's March 18th.
Jonah's coming.
Jonah Corchin's going to talk about making millions of dollars in California.
Yeah, he's awesome. I actually interviewed him on the podcast
Yeah,
last time he
he's
was
so
here.
sweet. Yeah, so I'm excited to have him. And yeah, just DM me and let's have a conversation. Let's hang out. If you're in Orange County, let's have lunch.
Yeah,
I love to hang out and talk. Coffee, lunch.
you guys definitely take her up on the offer. She's awesome. And I really love her so much. And I'm so grateful that we started this journey at the same time. What's the time? So my show's called Born to Be Brave. What's the time? Share with our audience and we'll wrap it up. A time that you were brave.
It's actually pretty recently. I don't like to talk about it in too much detail, but I finally broke the strings of obligation to my extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because you're my blood, I don't owe my
Mm-hmm.
life to you. My priority right now is my husband and my son,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't let them take me down just
Mm-hmm.
because we're family and again, blood relatives. I'm here to protect my son and my husband, and that's what I'm going to do.
Sounds like you had to draw a boundary, and that can be
Yeah.
really hard with your family
It was
and being
very hard.
brave.
Very hard.
I'm very proud of
Thank
you,
you.
for choosing yourself and your family.
Yep.
And I know that can be really difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
And so I really want every person, thank you for sharing that. Every person, I'm just going to talk to you for 1 second, is remember that you were born to be brave. This isn't your practice life. This is your one precious shot. It's your family. You do have to draw boundaries, and you have to protect your time. It's our only non-renewable resource, right? Is our time, and so we get to decide how we spend our time, who we spend our time with, and I just want you to know I believe in you. I know Brenda believes in you, and we hope that you will to have the courage to step into the life that you were meant to live. And you might be hearing these recurring thoughts or have something in your heart that you really wanted to do, or maybe real estate investing passively or actively has been calling to you. Reach out to Brenda and to myself and check in and see what we can do or what's possible and if it aligns with you, right?
Yeah.
And do your own due diligence, of course, because it has to make sense for you. And anyway, thanks for joining us today. And you can like and subscribe to the program if you found value here. And then thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to watch it.
It's so exciting.